Hello, friends. Welcome back to my workout room, my creative hub, where we're gonna come up with two more story ideas today. And as usual, you will see me or hear me scribble. I'm gonna jot down these ideas to come up with a log line with later. Um, and yeah, you'll watch me. You'll see me look down and um, think. Maybe check my notes along the way. So today let's do comedy. I've actually had an idea. I had this idea years ago, so let's see if it actually has legs as we try to develop it. And then for the second one, we'll see later. I don't know. All right. So this idea I had was um, I wanted to make a comment about a generation that doesn't want children. And I was just in my head. It was funny. There's a funny line about like children in this economy. Um, so I wanted to make a movie about uh, children not having children, and maybe something that even plays around with the possibility of destigmatizing. Is that what I'm trying to say? Playing with the tradition that like you're born, you have kids, and then you take care of your kids, and um, you're born, you go to school, you meet somebody, you have kids, you raise your kids, and then what? Your grandkids come along, and then that's the life of. So I personally don't have children, and I don't really want them. So let's write something about that. So I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Monster in Law. It must be old by now, not old, but with Jane Fonda and Jennifer Lopez. And for this idea of whoever I mentioned that because for this idea, I always think of Jane Fonda in this role. Um, and sometimes it helps me to have a specific actor in mind to help me come up with the comedy or come up with the personality of the character. And so for me, Jane Fonda in Monster in Law is the character that I'm going after in the script. Because I wanted to make also a story about not interdimensional, multi generational. Um, so here's what my idea was. There is a grandma who wants her goal in life is to have is to be alive for her great grandchildren, and that's she's up there in age, and the last thing she wants to really focus on is to be there for her grandchildren and get to know them and get to watch them grow up as much as possible. And so of course this great grandmother would be somebody who's still very much um, energetic or um, uh, maybe eccentric as well. Yes, I do have a candlelight again this today. It's to help with the creativity. Um, okay, so this grandmother's last goal in life would be to have great grandchildren, and of course, her granddaughter doesn't have any interest in having children. Otherwise, how would we have a good film, a good story? So, her last thing is to have great grandchildren, and she only has one option: is that for her granddaughter to have children. And of course, her granddaughter does not want children. But here's what we'll do. So the granddaughter is now like, let's say 17, 18, 19, like going to college. 18, 19. There. 18, 19. Maybe we'll make her 19. But none of this is ever set in stone, really. All of this, all of my ideas I come up with just for a log line that excites me. But when I write down a script, all of this could change, or most of this can change, and it's definitely like, for me, usually the story really dictates a lot of those little details. But when I come up with an idea, I can toss a few more details just for fun. But I'm not married to them, and we'll see. We'll see later on. So, um, the granddaughter doesn't want children, not in this economy, and but to help her, yes, to help her pay tuition for college, she decides to sell her eggs. Yes, sell her eggs. Uh, to help her with tuition. So, let me write that. So, and there goes the problem that completely interferes with our Jane Fonda's character's need for grandchildren. So here comes the kicker. The grandmother knows that her granddaughter has sold some eggs, and listen, this is what I love about comedies. Is it? I don't know how this is happens or how this would possibly be able to happen, but for the comedy, we'll make it happen. That she is able to go to the center that where she sold her eggs, or the place where her granddaughter sold the egg, and she decides to buy them and keep them and fertilize them because she wants, biological grandchildren. That means a lot to her. And of course, then that's going to be a whole bunch of conflict, because that's a violation and it's not cool and all those kinds of great dramatic things for stories. Um, uh, and then there's more comedy with the mother. The mother, the one in between. She'll be the one in between. Like, I totally understand my daughter and how she's violated, but, my mother wants this, and that's also like, why not get her? I also want, maybe she also wants, she's ready for grandchildren as well. I mean, these women probably would have had children young, on the younger side. Um, anyway, yeah, so that's the idea. A grandmother, our main character, wants great grandchildren before she dies, to be with them, to take care of them, to still be around as much as possible. Um, I feel like that's a pretty rare thing, at least as far as I'm aware of. But of course, her granddaughter doesn't want children at all, but she sells her eggs to pay for tuition, and then our main character finds her way to get those eggs and wants to get them fertilized. And man, it sounds fantastic how she would even. What if they all live together at this point in their lives? Um, how would she, hide it from, like, you can't just show up with a baby at home one day and no one's gonna ask you any questions. So that, yeah, or maybe she freezes them. Yeah, maybe like the story wouldn't go as far as actually having the babies in this film, because that might be going too far. But she could freeze the eggs. Um, right. And then, of course, there would be more conflict with other things. Um, uh, yeah, I think that would be a fun story. Because I haven't seen this great grandmother craze yet. Understandably so. It's it's more a story popular with grandparents. They want to be grandparents. They get a certain age and they can't wait for their children to have children. Um, okay, I think I do have enough. I have that. It's huge betrayal. We have a main character. We have the goals. We have the obstacle to the goals. Yeah. And then the betrayal, and we never need to come up with a certain ending. Well, if I were to come up with an ending, it would be probably as I write the script and I see where I sit down to write, and the extra drama and the extra conflicts come in to close them all at the end. So, yeah, I have enough. I think it does have legs, and I have enough to create a logline out of it. So that was fun, and that was quick. Let me just write that down. I'll have to find a name. I'll check my notes later. Okay, cool. Sounds like fun. Perfect. All right, let's move on to our second idea. And so for when I got the idea to create this podcast, I looked at a bunch of other different podcasts to see what it was about because I'm not too much in this podcast world. Um, and I noticed that there is a huge amount of true crime podcasts and of all different kind of flavors, um, and branding, like the way that their brand, the way that they decide to go about these things. Um, so I thought, oh, true crime, like a podcast, true crime thing, uh, sounds fun. So let's make like a murder mystery. Oh, let's combine it with a rom com. So a murder mystery rom com, and I think the last time I heard about something like that is I think it's called Murder Mystery, right? With Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. Um, so let's do something like that. It wouldn't be like that. No, it wouldn't be like I worked on the movie like I think when it came out, so I don't remember it whatsoever. And I think there's a second one, and I haven't seen that one, so I don't really remember what it was or how it was. Um, but let's do that. Let's do podcast, a true crime podcast, like obsessed main character, and I had this idea a while ago. Uh, for the rom com part, because I want it like stylized as a rom com and murder mystery. So the rom com part is that she is a newlywed, and she is on her honeymoon. Yes, her and her husband go on a honeymoon, and it's one of those like multiple destination honeymoons, and it's cute. Like they already know each other because most rom coms obviously they just meet. There's a meet cute or they meet each other during the course of the story. But for this one, they've known each other for a while and they just got married, so there's no meet cute involved. It's more about them two. They have their honeymoon. Let's say 3 or 4 destination in Europe. Let's make it Europe again. These details can change when the writer sits down to actually develop the script. A lot of the details can change. This could be in, you know, South America. This could be in Asia, but let's make it Europe in this version. So they just got married, and they have this 2 to 3 destination honeymoon trip to enjoy. Okay. And oh yeah, so I got this idea because one of the podcasts that I was listening to get inspired. I think it's called Murder with My Husband, and I thought that was interesting. Like their whole shtick is like, I love it, he hates it, and so this wife tells her husband about murder stories, the real life, obviously true crime murder stories, and he's just like, it's uncomfortable for him. And I feel like if I were in that situation, it'd be something like that. That's why it was so fun when I learned about it. Uh, I feel like I would be in that situation at some point. That my partner loves something and I hate something, and they would want to tell me all about it, and I'd listen. I'd listen, but like be very uncomfortable about it anyway. I think that's adorable. Um, so they're 2 or 3 destination. Okay, so it turns out that her husband, like uh after a while, it's she notices, or maybe when she's in these honeymoons and her family knows, her sister, her brother, or her mom, they know that about this honeymoon and all the trips on the way, and they of course like stay in touch, and maybe it's an involved family. Yeah, should be. Because the family maybe starts to message her, "Hey, we heard about the incident where are you guys next to that? Like, are you guys okay?" And so she realizes after a while that everywhere she's going, there are reports of murders happening. So close to where she is, and of course she's at first fascinated because she's a true crime enthusiast. Um, so maybe at first it's exciting a little bit. It's like it's exciting in a dangerous way, right? Like, oh, I can't believe that was so close, that kind of thing. Almost like wants to investigate, but has to remind herself she's in on her honeymoon. But of course, after a while, because of the clues, like she does pay attention to the news, or she does maybe a little bit of investigating around town, and there may be a few clues here and there, and then the behavior of her husband, like since she's around true crime so much, she starts to recognize some patterns or some details are awfully uh, um, non coincidental. It's just too close to not look like it's her husband uh, that could be the serial killer type of thing. Um, yeah, that was the idea. That's the idea. There's something there. There's something there for a logline. So, um, so yeah, this podcast obsessed woman, newlywed, is on her honeymoon with this great husband that she's known for however many years, and little by little she starts to notice that these murders are following her. Every time they go to a different destination, there's one, there's another, um, and she starts to think, because maybe her husband comes in with a few cuts, or the clothes described, or she's like, oh, I think he was wearing that the other day, and yeah, turns out she starts to think her husband is the serial killer, and that's why it's exactly happening everywhere they go. And again, for story ideas, especially for loglines, we don't need to disclose the end or even figure it out. We just need to get excited about what the story is, because at least most of my process is, sometimes I do know the ending to a story that before I write it. Sometimes I don't, and sometimes I write all of the exciting things that I already know, and then let it drive me or let it guide me to what the ending would be or wants to be. Um, but yeah, they're already in love. The rom com will be uh, extravagant, like, because if let's say if he's the serial killer and he's getting away with it every single time, it's fantastic. But maybe the way that he creates some of the romantic moments between them are awfully so well manicured that it's also another sign that, like, wait, he's doing this so well. How did he put all this together? It's almost like the same skill you would need to get away with these murders without any evidence. This is an unbelievable kind of thing. So it would be, that rom com, like that, a legit rom com uh, moments and feel. Um, and then, of course, the murder mystery of it all uh, would be fun as well. I like it. I like it very much, and that's actually it. That's all I need for um, our honeymoon murders. The honeymoon murders. That's right. The honeymoon murders is our story, and that's all I need. No actors come to mind this time. Um, that's okay. That's all right. So, um, well, that felt very quick. That's nice. Very nice. I love it when it all comes together easily. Well, thank you for listening, and I will go ahead and make the log lines, and you guys will have them in just a sec. See you next time. Eggs Benedict. Comedy. A woman, Benedict, whose granddaughter refuses to birth children, secretly purchases the eggs her granddaughter sold to pay for college to achieve her dream of being a great grandmother. Would you watch or pass? Put it in the comments. The Honeymoon Murders. Murder Mystery RomCom. A true crime obsessed newlywed bride begins to suspect her charming husband may be a serial killer when every stop on their overseas honeymoon coincides with an unsolved murder. Would you watch or pass? Put it in the comments. Thank you for listening to the Logline Lab. I'm Chris. Keep the ideas rolling.